Guys, here's the Ledger Flex, and it's almost half the price of the Ledger Stax. But could it actually be the better deal? What's the difference between Flex and Ledger Stax? And is it worth upgrading if you already have another hardware wallet? That's exactly what we're going to dive into right now. But before we get started, let's do a quick unboxing of this device. And so, the Ledger Flex comes in a tiny box, especially when compared to the Ledger Stax. And as I said in my previous video, the Ledger Stax has the best and probably the most expensive packaging among all hardware wallets. However, this one feels at least 5 times cheaper, but we are not here for the packaging, right? The real question is how well this thing will keep our crypto safe. So, on the back of the box, there are 2 protective seals, just like the ones you see on iPhone packaging. Let's peel them carefully off. And next, hopefully comes an Apple moment. And yeah, we are immediately faced with the Ledger Flex displaying the most important message in crypto: trust only yourself. Let's put the device aside for now and see what else we have in the kit. Here we have a folder with 3 recovery sheets, and by the way, the Ledger Stax only came with one of these. Does that mean that with the Stax you'll only ever need one for the rest of your life, or what? Next, there is a slightly thicker folder with paperwork, and finally a small box containing a USB-C to USB-C cable for charging and connecting to your desktop. And honestly, I couldn't figure out how to open this box without tearing it apart, but let's just count that as another protective seal. And yeah, that's the entire kit. Now let's get back to the device and finally take it out of the carton. I have to say, these new Ledger wallets have a very sleek design. Both Stax and Flex give off a very futuristic vibes. And if I said before that the Stax feels like a key to an expensive car or a new iPhone, then the Flex feels like a multipass from the movie The Fifth Element. And that's actually not that far from the reality. Because with the introduction of NFC chip in both the Flex and Stax, you can now not only store crypto on the device, but you can also use it as a 2FA for various websites, essentially making it a kind of multipass. I'll go into details in my full Ledger Flex review. Subscribe so you don't miss out. I'm curious if it's possible to integrate Google or Apple Pay into this device. That way, it could become an all-around payment option, having crypto, cash and credit cards all in one device. Or we might even see Ledger Pay in the future. Ledger guys, it's definitely something to consider. Okay, let's finally turn this device on, but first, let's carefully peel off the protective film. And press that power button. And yeah, we can finally see how this thing actually works. And as you might have already guessed from that noticeable screen refresh, it's a large e-ink display, technology that Ledger specifically developed for the Ledger Stax. But this device has a slightly modified version of Stax screen. It's a bit smaller and doesn't bend around the device, which just makes the Flex much cheaper to produce. The Flex is fully controlled by a touchscreen display, so no more navigating with just 2 physical buttons. And I can say that the Flex is just as easy to use as the Ledger Stax. It runs on the same OS and offers the same full-scale QWERTY keyboard during setup, so I didn't experience any misclicks with it. Or to confirm a seed phrase, you can simply tap the correct word on the screen. Yep, super convenient. Essentially, by paying less, you get the same exact experience as with the Stax, and it's ridiculous. By the way, if you also see this device as a better deal, you can buy one directly from the official website using this QR code or the link in the description below. First of all, this way you ensure that you're buying an authentic device, but also this way you support my efforts in creating these videos. Thanks. So, the only differences that you can really find between Stax and Flex are that the Stax screen is slightly longer with smaller bezels and the Flex itself is a bit thicker, but I don't think that's a big thing here. After all, most hardware wallets are just stored in a safe place and you are not carrying all your wealth around with you, right? When it comes to actually using the device, after setup and installing all your crypto apps, your Flex screen will look something like this. The main screen displays all your applications with 6 tiles per page, the same number as in the Stax. You also have a settings menu where you can configure the device name, screen auto lock, audio volume, language, pin code, NFC, and a few other things. When it comes to applications, you get about 1 megabyte of memory to install all your necessary crypto apps, the same capacity as the Ledger Stax has. And in my experience, this is more than enough. I store about 8 cryptos here on the device and still have room for 3 to 5 apps to install. I know, 1 megabyte is almost half the memory that the Ledger Nano X that was released in 2019 has, but that's just how it is. This is a small trade-off Ledger had to make to introduce the touchscreen display here, because these Stax, Flex, Nano X and even Nano S Plus all share the same secure element, but these Stax and Flex have a new graphical OS, which just takes up more space in the chip's memory. Honestly, if you are trying to decide between Stax and Flex, here are a few of my thoughts. I think the Ledger Stax is the next generation of hardware wallets. It's a unique device with a stunning design and a sleek wraparound screen. However, it's quite expensive and you're paying a big premium for the impressive design. But if you really want the most impressive wallet on the market right now, you might want to go for it. I actually have a Stax review on my channel as well, so you can check it right here. When it comes to the Flex, you get all the premium features developed for the Ledger Stax, but just at a better price. This includes e-ink, NFC, a large touchscreen display, and the ability to show QR codes with wallet addresses right on the device, and many more. So I think it's just a better value for money. But there is another factor that not many people talk about, and it's durability. Maybe it's just me or my anxiety, but I'm trying to use these tags as carefully as possible, because it seems to me that if it falls on the corner of the rounded display, it could cause some serious damage, or at the very least, you might see some artifacts in that part of the display, since this screen isn't covered by any protective glass. So I always have a protective case on my Stax. The Ledger Flex, on the other hand, shouldn't have this problem, since it doesn't have a wraparound display. It also feels a bit more solid in your hand, and you probably can toss it in your backpack without worrying about any damage. But that's only my guess, by the way. For long-term use, I would bet that the Flex is a more practical choice, and since it's also almost twice as affordable, it's a no-brainer for me. And by the way, if you want to see how to set up the device and find out what's really inside this wallet, click right here to check out my full Flex review and setup guide. And if you still don't see any video right here, it means it's still work in progress, so click the subscribe button so you don't miss out. And yeah, thank you. See you later.